Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. We have Premier League in the middle of the week. We have Serie A in the middle of the week. We have Bundesliga in the middle of the week. It's all happening. And that's why Nick Dianni's back on the show. Follow him at Nick Dianni. Follow his podcast, which I appeared on last week at Kicks Picks Pod. It's a lot of fun. We're going to have some fun today. There's so much to dig into. And are we the best bettors ever in the Premier League, and well, English soccer because there's no FA Cup this weekend, and the Bundesliga, but not Italian soccer? Are we the best? Are we the best cappers on the planet?
I think it has to be said. We had a blast this last week. I actually rewatched it twice, and I don't know if you have, I mean, obviously you edit this show that we're doing right now, so you have to rewatch it, but it's one of those where you kind of like sick of hearing yourself all the time. I rewatched our show twice because I had so much fun, and we did so incredibly well to lose every single game in Italy. So
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
feel
we
like a big
we
fat
really
fraud
did. Um,
because every other bet we gave was a winner.
I really enjoy when you come on the show and when I go on yours because it feels a little less like, oh, here's all my notes, here's all the reasons why, and it's a little bit more like the group chat just kind of comes alive. And
It's the
like
way.
for the first time, I kind of like moved the mic back, like slunk back into my chair and like had a good time. That being said, let's just get into it. Brentford are taking on Manchester City. According to goal.com, Pep Guardiola is getting a divorce from his wife, so maybe that's why Manchester City are not good anymore. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but my play here is first half over 1.5 is a plus number. I don't know how it's a plus number. It's plus 102. It's only hit 3 of the last 5 for City, but 2 of the last 5 and 2 of the last 5 for Brentford. But I just see goals early in this game. This is a game that I'm going to see. I see a goal in the 17th minute, a goal in the 33rd minute, and it's 2-0 City in the break, 1-1 at the break. I think Brentford get on the score sheet here. Both teams to score is a crazy juiced number. I took this out of the parlay. Did you know that 18 of 30 Manchester City games have gone both teams to score, and 18 of 25 Brentford games have gone both teams to score? So
Okay.
if you were going to sell me a bridge about both teams to score, I'd agree with that bridge. What are you thinking in this one?
Yeah. It's a game that Manchester City have to win. They have to get right. And I've been burned by get right games now for I feel like 5 or 6 games in a row. But this is the ultimate. I'm with you. They have to get off to a fast start. If you wanted to take City in a parlay, I wouldn't be mad at you. If you wanted to take a City team total in a parlay, I wouldn't be mad at you. If you want to take City money line first half, I wouldn't be mad at you. I'm kind of all the way there with any of those. The two that I'm looking at, and don't care what unit size anybody wants to sprinkle on any of this. Haaland to score in the first half is plus 220. I like that number a lot.
Ooh.
And also, Man City to score a penalty is plus 400. A little exotic. Not every book will have it, but I think it's a game where they're going to be creating a lot of pressure. They're going to have a lot of ball. They're going to have to make something happen. I'm willing to take a stab with those two at big, big, big odds.
All right, we jump to Chelsea. They're taking on Bournemouth, and I don't know if you've seen the meme that cycles around every time Bournemouth have a big game, and it's the Norman Osborn from Spider-Man 1 where he said, "Oh, I'm a bit of a scientist myself," but someone photoshopped him into a Bournemouth jersey and it says, "I'm a bit of a cherry myself because I'm on the cherries on Tuesday." Bournemouth double chance plus 135, draw no bet plus 330. Bournemouth are 4-2-0 in their last 6 against top 10 scoring defenses. Their team total is over 1.5 is plus 180. I know they're injured. I know they're injured. But this is a game that Chelsea, in my opinion, are just they're kind of fading. They're just not they have the luxury of riches of all those great players right now. The problem they have is which guy am I supposed to play? It's like the opposite problem that every other club is going through right now of like, oh yeah, we've got this, we've got these 17 players out injured and we're having to play like a reserve player. Chelsea have everybody. And it's like which are the best 11 to put on the field today? Bournemouth are a well organized squad. They've played well against bigger teams this season, typically at home. But I think they can absolutely give Chelsea some trouble. Um, I think at the minimum, this is a game that kind of gets out of hand, which is why I think of the safest of all those might be the team total over 1.5 at plus 180, but double chance. Bournemouth. I also saw Bournemouth +1 at minus 120, which I don't hate either.
Big fan of the Asian line. I dig it. I think Chelsea fell off at the worst possible time. They have this is their window of schedule where they could have made up ground on Liverpool, gotten a little bit of a cushion in that top four race. They've absolutely shit the bed. I'm kind of with you here on Bournemouth. I think that they do something. Both teams to score over 2.5. One of your favorite bets is minus 135. That's right there. I'd probably play it and just kind of hope and pray for a 2-1 game either which way because I totally see it happen. If you wanted to take over 3.5 at plus 110, you could do that. But I agree with you. I think anything could happen in this game. It could be 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. I see both teams really kind of going for it.
Did you know that Chelsea have played 20 Premier League games and that 13 of them have been both teams that score?
There you go. All I needed
Yeah.
to hear.
That statistic, it'll come back around before the end of the show. You mentioned Liverpool, they're top of the table. They're taking on Nottingham Forest on the road. Um, I don't have a ton from this game because the numbers are crazy. I do want to point out a couple things. Arne Slot has mentioned that they lost to Nottingham Forest in pretty much every single press conference since they lost to Nottingham Forest. This is this man's singular focus. I do expect Liverpool to get a win. They are relatively healthy. I hope that Konate is been hitting the fitness since his week off of not featuring in the middle in the weekend. Because he was not good against Tottenham. He was not good against Manchester United. But I know he was returning from injury. Fuck you, Endrick. Um, I mean that. So I'm confident in Liverpool, but the only things I think I can play in this game, Salah anytime goal scores plus 120. The guy's the Golden Boot winner
Have
right
to
now.
take it until it doesn't hit.
Right, right. Like it's one of those things that it's like if you're gonna give me this a plus number, I'm gonna consider it. Salah anytime assist plus 200. He's also up there for the assist charts. And then on the Nottingham Forest side, Morgan Gibbs White shot on target plus 105. He's hit that in 7 of his last 8 games. He's good. I rate him a lot. He's been linked to Liverpool. I think that Szoboszlai being back for Liverpool is a big piece. Um, they should walk into this one with their best 11. I hope they win. I will be praying for it. Pray for my anxiety. Anything you like in that game?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with what you opened the segment with. This is the game that is circled on the Liverpool calendar. If you think they don't want revenge, you are absolutely wrong. But man, credit to Forest and what they've done so far this year. They're in good form right now. I'm going to give out chalkiest of the chalk. Both teams to score by itself is minus 140. I don't know anybody's limits or betting style, soccer, football. It's a very unique sport to bet. So that's a place I'm comfortable laying the juice. Minus 140 is about as far as I'll go. But I think this is absolutely playable by itself. So anything you want to do outside of that, I'm on board. You mentioned Salah. Salah to score in the second half is something I had circled. That's plus 300. I feel like he's been doing most of his personal damage after the break. So if you're looking to get a little bit of a better number, you know he's going to play just about that full 90. Just a thought.
Okay, let's jump to Arsenal. They're taking on Tottenham. North London Derby. Both of these teams wicked injured, just crazy injured. Weird time for both of these sides. There's not a lot I like in this game, if I'm going to be totally honest, because Archie Gray is going to be playing center back for Tottenham, and that could mean that Tottenham are going to dominate the game, or it could mean that Arsenal are going to just destroy them. But with the injuries that both of these teams have, I don't know what to take. I like Tottenham 11 shots in the game at plus 100 quite a lot. 12 shots plus 150. They're averaging 14.43 shots per match. They put up 15 against Arsenal in the previous derby. Arsenal have only given that up 9 times this season. Um, but I still like it because it's a good number. And then on the Arsenal side of things, an Odegaard shot on target at minus 120 sounds
That
about
seems
right.
silly.
Right, because who else is going to do it? You know what I mean? Like, you're missing so many key attacking pieces that somebody's got to be the guy. I think you can always play Gabriel shot on target because they're going to go for the corners. Um, but I just don't think this is going to be a fun derby. I would expect Arsenal to win, unfortunately, but you never know.
Yeah, tough, dude. I've bet Arsenal now like 3 weeks straight where they've been absolutely disastrous. They can't seem to find the back of the net, but this Tottenham defense is just as awful. They just got held for 90 minutes against what, a fourth division club? Granted, starters aren't playing, but I don't care. If you're reserves, can't beat some fourth division club. I don't know what to tell you, so I don't really know how to make heads or tails of this game. This is like schedule congestion. We got cups, we got midweek games. Champions League is back before you know it. But I'm inclined to take Tottenham plus 1.5 at minus 120. I just think that until Arsenal prove that they're back into form, whatever that form may be, because I don't think their ceiling is quite as high as their fans think it is. You kind of have to go with Tottenham in this one. So tough. Proceed with caution. Probably could have let off like the show with proceed with caution on these midweek games, but I think Tottenham plus 1.5 seems kind of outrageous the way Arsenal's been playing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I do think Tottenham make it some kind of a close one in the end.
And if you want to
Um,
get silly, man, over 1.5 team total plus 220.
I will say this: apparently, Tottenham haven't won at the Emirates since 2010. I mean, they said the same thing about
They're due.
Newcastle a couple days ago. So, you never know. All right, let's jump to Italy. We'll jump to the continent. I'm kind of done. Those are kind of everything that I really like in terms of
I
Premier
mean,
League.
we're not gonna fall into the Aston Villa trap plus 135 at Everton.
No.
Okay,
Um,
we're not.
no. Yeah, I pitched this recently to somebody. There's a lot of new managers at the bottom of the table right now. West Ham, Everton, Wolves. Who else brought in a new manager? Somebody else brought in a new manager. Leicester, Ruud van Nistelrooy. I mean, he's been there a minute now at this point, but like, there's a lot of new managers at the bottom of the table in the Premier League. We're at that point where like everyone who's fired a coach is gonna fire their coach. Um, like I'm staying
Except
away
for
from
Juve.
Fulham. I'm staying away from Fulham, West Ham. I'm staying away from Aston Villa, Everton. Should Aston Villa win? Absolutely. But like again, with the schedule congestion, Champions League coming up next week. I just don't know. I'd rather not give it out something that I'm not totally in love with, which I will say I'm in love with this next bet. It's Atalanta. They're taking on Juventus. This is a huge, huge game in Italy for both teams. We talked about it on your podcast last week that Juve are coming up on a tough stretch here. Points could be um, at a premium. And also, I don't look. I don't think they should fire Malta just yet. I think it would be dumb
No
of
way.
them to fire Malta. They just totally rebuilt the squad. He moved on from a lot of veteran players there. They're a young team, but I just think, and Atalanta to me, not getting a win this weekend, the performance in Italy or in Saudi Arabia for the Copa, or maybe they're hitting their wobble at this point of the season. They've also been injured. Retegi's been out. Um, but Atalanta money line at home. I'm taking it. They're 10-2 and 0, 83.3% in their last 12 games as a favorite. That's from Outlier. I like their team total over 1.5 at plus 122. I also like the both teams to score again at minus
Yep.
116. It's hitting 7 of the last 9 for Juve. Uh, I'm gonna swing for the fence here with the money line and the team total. And like I think this feels like to me a 2-1 game that Atalanta somehow end up figuring out how to win. But you may read it differently.
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, both teams, this is a must-win game, kind of, for both teams. I mean, Atalanta cements their spot in top three, top four with a win here. They've looked absolutely terrible, like you said, the last couple of games. Retegi is missing. That's hurting them. Lookman hasn't really been himself. CDK cooled off just a little bit, but Juve cannot stop anybody from scoring. So this is the time. You're at home. Both teams to score, and I actually have it at even money. So if you shop around, I mean, anywhere in that even money, minus 115, minus 120,
Yeah.
super playable number. That is absolutely my favorite bet. I think 1-1 is the minimum for this game. So I like that, but I definitely with you on Atalanta being the side that should win. I think the odds are in the right place.
I'm staying away from AC Milan Como. I forgot who. I think Inter are playing somebody. They have to be, I would assume. But I'm staying away from everything else in Italy and jumping to Germany real quick. Frankfurt are taking on Freiburg. I got Frankfurt money line over the weekend. Easy win against St. Pauli.
Yes.
Their money line minus 130 against Freiburg at home. That is playable for me. Frankfurt and both teams to score at plus 200 is really interesting because the last six straight Freiburg games have ended both teams to score.
I like it.
I could also be talked into an over 3.5 in that game as well. Both teams in over 2.5 if it's good enough for you, also playable. One thing to note for Frankfurt, we could have seen the last of Marmoush. This could be the last of Marmoush. The deal is on the table allegedly for him to go be Manchester City's, 6 month too late replacement for Julian Alvarez, which I think is a smart piece of business by them. So he is no longer my second favorite Egyptian player if that move does in fact go down. Um, but yeah, I think there's some value on the board in that one.
Definitely agree. I love Frankfurt. I think they're criminally underrated side. They just are them and Stuttgart. I think both of them. Like they're just better than odds ever seem to reflect. So there's always a little more value in taking them than it would look at face value. So give me Frankfurt money line at home. I'm with you. I don't really have too much to add. That's definitely the play.
The other big one in the Bundesliga midweek, Leverkusen are taking it on Mainz. Mainz weirdly top four right now. Their striker Burkhardt has scored in 5 of his last 6 games. He was one of those 6 games that he didn't score in. He came off injured after 14 minutes against Bayern. He's anytime goal scorer plus 300. He's minus 140 to have a shot on target. Patrick Schick has goals in 5 of 6. He's plus 140. Um, the over 3.5 is plus 136. It's hitting 2 of the last 5 for both clubs. Both teams' the score is minus 134. I absolutely love that because
Yep.
Leverkusen's defense stinks. And both teams scoring over 2.5 is minus 105. You can get that right around even money. That's a great, great play. And one last thing to bring up here. If you're going to do it, you got to do it now. As I saw it last week at 7 plus 750. Leverkusen to win the league at plus 650. They're 4 points behind Bayern. They've done it. Bayern haven't with this manager. They haven't with Harry Kane. Like you never know. You really never know. But I I gave it out last year plus 600. I feel weird not putting like at least something on it at plus 650 because they have the pieces. In my opinion, they have the best player in the league in Verts. Anything you like from this game?
No, I think was almost going to get to Mainz plus two. The number's not quite there. I think Leverkusen get it done, but it doesn't seem super straightforward to me. Um, so I'm kind of with you there. This is a tricky one. I'm probably going to lay off um, in in full honesty.
I got you. Wouldn't close the show. Wouldn't I don't I have, but you know what? We're back in both teams to score parlay time frame. I have a fourth leg that'll get you to plus 385. I don't think you need it. But this is plus 246. Frankfurt Freiburg we talked about. Frankfurt 17 of their 25 games have been both teams to score. Freiburg 11 of their 19 games including 6 straight both teams to score. I think we'll get goals there. I mentioned West Ham Fulham saying I'm not touching that game. I will play both teams to score in this game. West Ham is 15 of their 23 games and 18 of 23 games for Fulham, including 4 straight. And it hit earlier this season when they played head to head. And then we'll close with Chelsea Bournemouth. 19 of 31 Chelsea games and 14 of their 20 Premier League matches this season have been both teams to score. You got to remember Conference League, they're playing Noah FC. They're playing Shamrock Rovers, like that team that you played when you played your younger cousin in FIFA and you didn't want to wax him and you let him play with Real Madrid. They played Shamrock Rovers. It was a real team. And 13 to 24 Bournemouth games. If you want to add Brentford, Manchester City, because Brentford are the kings of both teams to score 18 of their 25 games and 18 of 30 City games. Again, that will get you to plus 385. I don't think you need the fourth leg. Just play it with three. It's a busy middle of the week. It's gonna be a fun middle of the week. I like I said, I hope my anxiety level after the Liverpool game is not too high, but you never know. You never know. Thank
Revenge. It's happening.
yes, a revenge. It's time. Nick, thank you so much for joining the program. You can follow him at Nick Dianni. You can follow his podcast at Kicks Pod. Go check them out. It's a great show. They do a lot of similar stuff that we do, but a little bit more in depth with Serie A. So if you're looking for bets in Italy, those are the guys that I usually
Just not last
consult.
week.
Yeah, I just did it
Going
last week.
forward, if you're looking for bets.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever. Um, I'm Andrew Pizarro. You can follow me at on Twitter at Andrew Pizarro. And last thing I'll say, I know there's a bunch of people who are now watching this product because they found me on TikTok. The app could be dying at any point, any in the near future. Allegedly, there's some senator from Massachusetts that is putting a bill on the floor to postpone the the ban by 270 days so that Congress can look into it more. I'm not a political person of like, hey, go do this, vote this way. I'm not going to tell you how to think, but a lot of you have found me on TikTok. I really appreciate the following that have built up there. It's almost 8,000 people. It would really rip my heart out to lose that in one day. So if you did find me there and you want to contact your senator or your House of Representative and tell them, hey, let's delay the ban, that'd be cool. I'd appreciate that. Do your own research, but that's all. Be
You
good
know, if that's,
people.
I thought you were going to give them an alternative place to find you. Didn't think that's where it was going.
Well,
Respect.
here's the thing. I don't cut the podcast to put on TikTok anymore. I just
Right.
retape everything. So if at this point, if they're watching it, they found me on TikTok or they're watching on YouTube or they're listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever. But
Fair.
at this point, they found me. So I'm not like they already know the places to follow me. But I've been pushing for 10,000 followers on TikTok for a long time. It's been like a big goal, like literally the big thing on my dartboard that I've been throwing things at for a long time. And it would really like I'm statistically due to get there in a couple months, and it would really piss me off to like just not get the opportunity to continue to swing the bet to get that number. So I'm at almost 8,000. I'm at like 7,900 followers. I
Awesome.
give me 270 days. I think I can make up the 2,100 followers I need on TikTok to break that 10,000 number, and that would just be a big notch in my personal achievement belt of things that I've accomplished professionally in my career, in my life. I don't know why that sounds stupid, but it isn't. Um,
Especially after we sweep the board this week.
Absolutely. So yeah. Let's have some fun this week. Let's hit some bets and hopefully we get another 270 days on TikTok. We'll see. See everybody.